So by now you all know that I like to periodically recommend books that I think every practicing software engineer should be familiar with, maybe have on their bookshelf. My recommendation for today is The Mythical Man Month. This was written by Fred Brooks, who actually passed away just very recently in the last couple of years. He won the Turing Award for leading the development of OS 360, which was the operating system for the IBM 360 series of computers, which really kind of in a lot of ways revolutionized the field. The idea that you could have software that would be forward compatible as newer, faster computers were released, that was basically unknown until the 360. So what we now think of as backward compatibility, where the same software runs on new hardware but faster, the 360 was basically the first successful commercial product to attempt that. A lot of other innovations as well. If you ever wondered why a byte has 8 bits and not some other number of bits, prior to the IBM 360, the machine word size was whatever the hardware designers thought. It could be 10, 12, 17, random numbers of bits. But IBM, for a variety of reasons, standardized on the 8-bit byte. And because IBM was the industry leader, that's what the standard became. So at the time the 360 was being produced, the operating system for this complicated machine that was going to have forward compatibility and everything else was at that time the most complicated large software project that any company had ever undertaken. And so Fred Brooks had to confront and solve a lot of problems that arise in an enormous software system that no one had had to deal with before at that scale. And so, after the project was over, the 360 was ultimately very successful, despite the fact that the software was delivered late. There were a lot of technical problems, but, somebody had to blaze the trail. And this book contains sort of the lessons that he learned from doing this. And even though things like developments in programming languages and faster hardware have made a lot of improvements in software engineering, it's really remarkable how many of the lessons that he identifies are still resonant today, especially probably the most famous one, Brooks's Law, which is adding additional engineers to a late software project makes it later. Because the idea is that the O of n squared cost of everybody communicating swamps the O of n parallelism you think you're going to get by adding more people. So I highly recommend you sort of flip through it. Again, some of the advice that he gives is maybe not as relevant today because tools have changed enough, but there's a lot of lessons in there that really are just fundamental to doing a large, complicated software project under time pressure and when you're working in quite a large team and how you organize all that. So that's my recommendation for the day.